Good evening, everybody. This is Bob DeCosta from Waterbook. Waterbook is a publishing house, but we are about to launch into a tutorial, and there will be other branches to Waterbook's department. Now, about this tutorial, we'll be beginning with specially the composition part for the schools. I have found that compositions have always been a sort of a confusion for the students. They are in a quandary to find out which question to attempt. A composition section will have various kinds of questions in it. There will be a composition on a descriptive note, there will be a narrative composition, there will be one on an argumentative, and there will be short stories, and there will be picture compositions. I'll be dealing today with a descriptive composition and a short story. To begin with, let us see this descriptive composition, which states, describe an evening spent with family members which you can never forget. Taking this consideration, students have normally found how to begin a composition. It states here clearly, describe an evening spent with family members which you can never forget. Some of the clue words here would be evening spent with whom? With family, that is the second point. And something which you cannot forget, which means it is a very memorable evening. So one way to begin would be to bring in this fast-paced world where students hardly get time to be with their family members. One day would be a Saturday or a Sunday evening where all the family members, the mother, the father, the brothers and the sisters, the siblings as we say, are all together and they are going to spend a very memorable evening. So the memorable part should be standing out in your mind. So when it is memorable, do not talk about a normal sort of an evening that you spend. Memorable should be something very different which you as a student can think of. Memorable could be, for instance, you have made pizza with the help of your sister. Parents will find this as a love token from their children's side. Parents would normally want to spend that evening with their children, giving their love on the pizzas that their children have made. So this is one way of beginning. Along with this beginning, you have to bring a foreshadow. Foreshadow means you have to talk about nature and how that part of nature helps in introducing your essay into a very fruitful essay. For example, you can talk about the weather, whether it was chilly or was it sultry, hot outside, and inside you can talk about, the AC was on or whatnot it is, and create a very amiable atmosphere, a very loving atmosphere. You may include that the television was on or it was not on. If you want to talk about that it being on, you can say that a match was going on and in between the matches all of you were yelling and screaming and laughing and tucking into the pizzas. This is one way of beginning, and then you bring in some sort of a problem that takes place in between your memorable evening spent. It could be a knock at the door and a stranger calls, but do not give too much of attention to the stranger because the essay talks about your memorable time spent. So once when you bring in the stranger into your composition, it adds a different color. The reader will want to find out how will you come back into the memorable evening part. Then you create a situation where the stranger has been told to go away, and then you begin again into your evening spent together and gradually reach a climax into your story and then gradually give it a very fine blend into an ending. That is from the descriptive point of view of an evening spent with your family members. Next, let us look at an event which says, write an original short story beginning, quote unquote, the train came to a screeching halt. I peered out of the window, ... You should know that a short story has a few elements which are to be kept in mind. You have to once again give a foreshadow as to the nature of the evening or the time when you are in the train, why you are in the train and where you are going, and what makes the train come to a halt. In between, you go to the past. So when you begin the essay, you begin it from the present tense point of view. The second part of the essay should be the past, why you came here, what made you come here, and why and where you are going. The third part, that is the ending part, you try to bring in as to what happens after the train comes to a halt, screeching halt, and what are the events that take place and what it results into. Does it result into some sort of an accident? Does it result into robbers coming in, breaking into the train, or some sort of an accident takes place, or some sort of a problem? So you introduce a conflict and then gradually end it into a positive, on a positive note or on a negative note. This is one way of writing a short story. This is the first episode of our tutorial. More will follow. If you like this video or this vlog, please give it a thumbs up and give your comments below in the comment section. Goodbye. See you all sometime later next week.